Welcome to Happy Hour Holidaze, your go-to podcast for business, entrepreneurship, and life stories. We love to cheers to people that become successful, leave the wheel, and do something that they are passionate about. Today in studio, we got Sandy Cantu, and she does probate, real estate. She's a jack of all trades. Sandy, we're really happy to have you. And I forgot my co-host here, Sean Febre. He is here as well.
Yeah, what's up? Manny's been a little bit out of the podcast scene for, like 7 weeks. So give him a break on this one.
I just had a newborn, so that's why I haven't been here. Vince has been doing a great job standing in for me whenever. Youngest in the Yacht Club, give it a shout out.
That's right. Youngest in the Yacht Club, Vince Serrano. I am Vince Serrano. And I just want to plug my book real quick. It will be live when you see this episode. It is called The Galaxian Rift, and you can get it on Kindle and you can get it on Audible. So let's go. Make me some money, baby.
So Sandy, tell us a little bit about your professional career and how you got into probate and real estate and how you're helping a lot of families out there too.
Well, I've always been a champion for the underdog, so to speak. And I had a career as an executive assistant in New York City.
Gotcha.
And just sort of fell into real estate investing. And it was really very hot back then. It was back in the early 2000s. And just started going to real estate meetings, investor meetings, and literally sitting there for about a year and just kept my mouth shut and learned and just learned and started to do some hands-on buying and flipping. This is in New York.
Wow.
And sorry, I keep saying no,
you're
but
good.
Buying and flipping and very good. Got caught up in it like everybody else did. It was a real high for a lot of people, including myself.
For sure.
And working in the city and doing it as well. So I was pretty exhausted. Ended up like a lot of people, unfortunately, got caught in the bubble and lost everything. I had multifamilies, I had single family homes, and everything just came tumbling down.
That was a tough time. I mean, it was like rocking and rolling. I mean, at that time, production and new homes. And then all of a sudden you see everybody putting their house up for sale.
And the house is not selling.
And the house is not selling. Yeah. And it was a big red flag there.
So can you describe to us what probate is and what exactly your business entails?
Okay, sure. What I was doing throughout my career is I was always providing referrals and connections to families who were going through probate. Finding them, getting them connected to a probate attorney, getting them connected to, say, a professional if there was an asset involved. So I decided to launch that part of my business.
What exactly, for those audience members out there that don't understand probate, what is probate?
Oh, sorry. You did ask me that, and here I am talking. Yes, probate is the law in Florida that if someone does pass away, and if the property or the asset is not in a trust, then you have to file probate. It's the law for it to be able to, not only just probate, but let's say there are checking accounts as well. If there was not, and again, I just need to preface that I'm not an attorney and I do not give advice. And I have that disclaimer on my website as well. But to answer your question, so if there is a payment on death document that's filed, let's say on checking accounts, that would allow a family member to be able to relinquish those funds, that doesn't have to go through probate. So we can get very tricky. Again, I'm not an attorney and I don't give advice, but that's part of it.
Now, you mentioned something that I think is critical and it was kind of glossed over. If it's not in a trust. So one way to avoid probate court is to have your assets in a revocable or irrevocable trust, correct?
Correct, yes.
And is that a path that you see very few people doing?
Very few.
Is there a reason for that?
That's a good question.
I think it's lack of knowledge, right?
Right. And maybe the family members or the loved one hasn't been educated with that, but it's very important.
How do you see people today getting educated about this? I mean, where can you reach out to somebody to say, hey, instead of going through probate, maybe when I pass away and I want to have something that's very simple for my children, how are you seeing people get educated about this situation?
That's a good question. I may start
Doing education, right?
Right. Again, it's not, I can't give legal advice, so it's somewhat of a gray area. But I think that it's important for people to know. And I hate to say this about attorneys, but we all know that it's a business, and attorneys do want to make a fee. Yeah. They want to make money. So perhaps they're not giving them that information, and maybe, I don't want to use the term steering, but perhaps not educating them the way they need to be.
Now, I've noticed that you said, I am not an attorney, I cannot provide advice. But what you can provide are examples of certain situations, so we don't need to call it advice, right?
That's true.
So, I mean, you're good there.
Right. I just want to make sure in case any attorneys are listening.
Or just say allegedly.
Sandy, what do you see as the average cost for somebody to avoid probate and do one of these irrevocable or revocable trust? I mean, what are we talking about money-wise? Because a lot of times, like you said with the attorneys, they're charging. So what do we
shout out Fantetti Legal?
Fantetti Legal. But what do you see like an average cost when it comes to somebody wanting to set up a irrevocable trust?
Oh, the cost really should be minimal. Yeah. I mean, anywhere probably between, dependent upon the attorney, between $1,500, $2,500, maybe as high as say $4,500, but nothing.
Nothing over that.
Nothing astronomical.
I was quoted $7,500.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no. Now
$7,500.
Well, now that I know that's how much other people are charging, I don't know. That sounds like a better deal, in my opinion.
I am overloading.
Can you plug any of those people? Any of those lawyers?
I don't know that I want to do that.
Oh, okay.
But if someone contacts me, I would certainly give them information. Yeah.
Gotcha. So what
contact info.
So what your business does is it connects people that are in need of setting up a trust with qualified professionals that can set them up with a trust and other services that revolve around, the probate.
Right. If they're looking for a probate attorney and they really don't know, they're just kind of going on Google and typing in probate attorneys in wherever, Sarasota, and they're getting, at least what I've done is I have vetted them and I've spoken to them and sometimes met with them. So at least they'll come to me if there is an asset, say if there's a property that's involved. And there's a good example. It's in Ruskin, and it's vacant. It's been vacant for quite some time. Yeah. And the family members are all out of state. One is overseas. So good, who knows? So there could be squatters there. There could be damage from, the two hurricanes. And so then I would be able to have access to the property, get them a property manager, maybe a contractor, someone that's going to be trustworthy and not just somebody they're going to find off of Google. It's going to rip them off.
Are you going to make an offer on some of these properties?
I do. If the situation allows it, I will. Mm-hmm.
And have you purchased some that were...
I'm actually in the process now of purchasing one.
So you're more of a real estate investor than anything else, correct?
I am a real estate investor. Yes, that is my... Mm-hmm. But I'm also obviously helping people. And I do help people a lot. And I don't charge either. That's something else I wanted to mention.
So you don't charge?
I don't charge any fees or anything like that for connecting people.
To help people with the probate?
No, won't do it.
Is that the entire business that you've created? Is there other employees of the business, or is it just your website and it's your...
It's my website, and I do have an assistant who helps me. And then I do have connections when it comes to contractors, professional services, and attorneys. Right.
So basically the easy, or not the easiest way, but one of the ways to avoid a lengthy probate is to do what? Just the trust.
To have it in a trust.
Yeah.
To have it in a trust.
Yeah, that's the only way. Because when it comes to probate, can you walk us just step by step on just the probate process? Just like from starting, let's say somebody's deceased. Now what happens?
Well, if there is a will, that's a good thing. A lot of times family members can't find the will.
Gotcha.
Or they don't, again, it could be somewhere in the home or someone has taken it. That's another issue.
They lost it.
What qualifies as a will? It has to be either digital or an actual piece of paper.
It's a will and testament, isn't it?
It is. And I can't answer that question because quite honestly, I don't know. Yeah. Every time I've spoken to anyone, it's always been a paper that's sitting somewhere in the family's home.
And it's non-binding, even though the court takes it into consideration. The judge ultimately decides on the action, right?
Yes.
Because wills are not always upholden. I mean,
right. They're not. It does,
that's why when it's in a trust, the trust owns the asset. Even though the beneficiary died, there could be a co-beneficiary, which means it doesn't go to probate. Now just the management of the trust gets switched over to the other individual.
you know a lot more than I do.
I'm sure we've grilled our attorney and I don't know who else about kind of irrevocable trust, because he was telling us, man, that's the best thing to do, or irrevocable trust for all your assets and stuff like that.
Yeah, I had a conversation with him that was lengthy. So.
Do you know what are
not on the podcast, but also on the podcast?
What are the negatives about having all your assets in an irrevocable trust when it comes to maybe being homesteaded?
Remember,
or
she's not an attorney.
Well, I mean, do you know? By chance?
I can't answer that because I really don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So then it's real estate investment is your cash cow, right? Are you like
Correct.
flipping multiple homes? Are you purchasing, renting? Are you doing the Burr method, which is buy, rehab, rent, repeat, that kind of thing, or refinance, repeat?
Right.
What's the
I haven't done a
strategy
Burr.
you're
I haven't
using?
done a Burr in a while. Well, the strategy for me when it comes to investing, I mean, to put my other hat on, is everyone has to be happy. The seller has to be happy. I need to be happy. And if there's an end buyer, then the end buyer has to be happy. So there has to be enough room. I'm not one of these, a lot of the cash buyers that go in and say, give them 75% off or, pennies on the dollar, because again, this is perhaps their homestead.
Yeah.
This is something that's important to them. So
Are you ever wholesaling properties as well?
I have done that. Yes.
And
But only in Florida. I've invested in New York and Arizona and here.
And
I did
the
a
New
couple
York
of
was,
those-
but you're not still investing in New York, right?
Oh, I'm not. No. It's been years.
So just recently, post 2008, post the housing market bubble, it's all just been Florida. How are you currently finding deals right
Arizona
now?
and
Arizona.
I was living out west for a short. I'm
Okay.
originally from out west and moved back there for a couple of years, and then decided everybody wanted to be in Florida. And I came kicking and screaming, but I love it.
And now in the market that we're in, where you see a lot of houses sitting on the market for, hundreds of days, for 6 months, a year, there's really not many deals that you could just find unless you have an extensive, contact list. Is that how you're getting your deals? Are they off market, or are you reaching out to people? What exactly is your strategy? Because I know a lot of viewers out there, they're trying to find something that's affordable. They can't, because even though the houses are sitting on the market for so many days, sellers really aren't dropping their prices.
Right.
So what exactly is your strategy when you go and try and find something that you can turn a profit on?
Well, I make phone calls. I have an assistant that makes phone calls. I mean, it's leads, right? It's relationships. And really what it boils down to also, the seller has to be motivated.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize, and this is just kind of sums up real estate in general, is that real estate, the market is really predicated on what the public is willing to pay. And if the public is not willing to pay, I just got off the phone this morning with a man who wanted $450,000 for his home in Temple Terrace. There is some damage
From
and the house.
hurricanes?
I mean, even if you just look at the Zillow, if you just want to look at it that way, it was like 300,000. So what makes you think
It's 450.
it's 450? And I said, I don't want to insult you. And he said, well, give me a price. And I gave it to him. And he said, oh, well, no, that's not going to work. I said, I just told you that. Like,
That's
I
an
don't know.
issue that we have with one of our friends who will not be named, but he thinks his house is worth way more than what it actually was. And he listed it at a very generous amount, but has cut away at it over a period of 6 months. So I like what you said. The price of that house is predicated upon what the public is willing to pay.
That's it.
If nobody's willing to pay, hey, guess what? Maybe the house is not worth what you're asking.
right.
And Sandy, in this climate, like just starting off the year, I mean, it's been a tough real estate market to get houses sold. Did you kind of switch your strategy where you started doing more rentals instead of flips to kind of subsidize what, really the profit margin is?
For me, I like to hold notes.
Okay.
So that's what I was doing a lot of in Arizona.
Gotcha.
Here, I pretty much just sell. I mean, eventually I'm going to get back into the rental market, but I've been a landlord before.
Yeah, I know.
It can be trying. It can be difficult, but It is what it is. If you want to keep,
He knows.
if you want to keep the asset, it's the best way.
Yeah.
Have you ever dealt with Section 8 rentals?
In New York, I did.
In New York?
Yeah.
I mean, when the government pays, they pay on time, right?
Yeah.
Is that maybe a strategy that maybe, like I've heard this one where a new couple is starting their marriage, they want to buy their first home. So what they do is they buy a quadplex. They'll live in just one unit because they only have to pay the 3.5% down, rent the other 3, refinance the quadplex, and go buy an actual house with 20% down, conventional, whatever it is. I mean, do you find that to be a good strategy for up and coming?
Oh, I do. I think that's wonderful. I think that's a very smart idea.
Problem is Section 8 is usually in lower income areas, which come with a lot of crime and things of that nature, right?
Yes, everyone has a right to live. And, I was a single mother, but I never was on Section 8 or anything like that. But my heart always goes out to single parents. And it's a shame. It really is. But I think that with Section 8, you don't always find people who are crime ridden and everything like that. There's, again, single mothers, maybe people are just going through a rough time, just like everybody is right now. It's hard, just in general. I mean, just with I don't care what anybody says, we are in a recession. Sorry, folks. And
recession is 2 quarters of negative growth in the U.S. GDP, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently the numbers aren't like that. I don't know. My son and I argue about this all the time, and he lives in New York. That is, listen, again, it's all about helping people as much as you can. And if it's a tenant that's not appreciative of the property, then, you've got to let them go.
How is the market up in New York? Like how differ from this, from this Florida?
It's insane.
Just the prices per square foot. I mean, just because it's a lot of it is, apartment.
They have like 100 square
buildings.
foot apartments that are renting for like $7,000.
Yeah.
Why? How is that even possible?
The salaries there are much higher. Yeah, he lives north of there. He lives in an area, county called Orange County.
Are you talking about your son?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's still crazy there. I mean, it's still Let's see. New York has a high employment, so it's not just Manhattan, but it's also the boroughs and what you call the commuter areas as well. There's a lot of jobs, and the jobs are high paying, so they can't afford the higher rent and or the higher prices for homes.
What would you say is a comparison for someone making $200,000 in New York in those 5 boroughs and the commuter population compared to someone living in Tampa? 200,000.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Does that mean that people in Tampa would be making like 75?
The money goes a lot further here, but again, with the properties being the way that they are now, it's difficult for them to make that dollar stretch. In New York, I would say, I'm trying to answer it as best as I can. I think that the dollar, believe it or not, I think that the dollar would stretch better here than it would there, because
That's the
up
way I
there,
see it,
there's the price of oil. There's, it just costs a lot more to live.
And they tax everything too, right?
Yeah.
So there's like tobacco taxes, like when you buy a cigarette, right?
Oh, I don't know. I don't smoke, so I don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
I smoke cigarettes.
But I think that the dollar would definitely stretch a lot further here. Yeah.
So then you just stopped investing in New York altogether?
Oh, yes. Yes, I did.
Now, is there even a way? How can people actually make money in New York in real estate investing?
Oh,
is it even possible?
Oh, man, really, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. I mean, it is possible, but I think you just have to be a lot more liquid and you have to really scour. And my former broker, I had my license for a period of time. He has now, I think he's got something like 30 properties, but he's been buying for several decades now. And then he's got connections with attorneys. He has a lot of connections. So if there's a good deal, he'll grab it if it's a good multifamily. So,
Were you one of the commuters or did you live in Manhattan?
No, I commuted. I lived in Dutchess County in a town called Wappingers Falls.
Oh, so that's outside of the cities, right?
Mm-hmm. But a lot of people commute.
Yeah, because you have the railway, correct?
Right.
So, I mean, it's just hop on the train, what is it, like an hour?
Door to door, literally parking your car in the parking lot, walking to the platform, getting on the train. Even if it was an express train, it was about a good 2 hours to Midtown.
2 hours, holy cow!
One way.
And you were only like 20 miles away, I'm assuming, right?
No, it's about 60, 65, something like that.
So that's like from Orlando to Tampa.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, 60 miles.
Yeah.
Holy cow, man! I couldn't imagine. Well, if you drive on I-4, I mean, you're 2 hours anyway, so and you're paying for gas
and the tolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been to New York, but I mean, just getting a little reminiscent here. What are the things that you do miss about New York?
Oh gosh, I mourn the way that Manhattan used to be. I mean, it was dangerous. It's always had crime. But the city was just more. It was more fun. It wasn't as dangerous as it is now. There were a lot less homelessness. You could just feel safe going somewhere at 2:00 in the morning. And now there's a tremendous amount of crime. It started prior to COVID, but then it got worse because a lot of homeless people as well. Not that I'm not saying anything bad about homeless people, but a lot of illegals, not saying anything bad about them either. But
I am.
They're well, I have my opinion as well. But they're just being housed in these hotels. And when you give someone something,
government funded, by the way,
right? And when you
which is taxpayer funded.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
So when you give someone something, they just don't appreciate it. That's the way I look at it. You have to work for it. So
I think that's
what I miss the most about it. Yeah.
Yeah, as a kid.
So you missed the crime and the homelessness. That's, I think what
I
you
miss
said.
the Chinese food and the pizza and the Yankees. But yeah.
At any time of the day, right? At any time of the day, you can walk outside and get a good meal. I mean, because most of those restaurants are open probably 24/7 or at least until 3 or 4.
Are they?
Maybe not
24/7. The diners, a lot of the Greek diners are open 24/7.
24/7. So you have a lot of opportunity. To get
definitely miss the food.
The culinary, I mean, because literally New York is where all the immigrants from Europe came in the early years. I think it was like the 1800s, or actually, no, before that, 1700s, 1776. Boom, is the Constitution. But anyways, you get a lot of old school Greeks, a lot of old school Irishmen, a lot of old school just cooking from Europe, and it's family recipes, Italian even, passed down from generation and generation, right?
Oh, definitely. No, the food there is phenomenal.
Yeah. I haven't been there yet. I need to go there.
Oh yeah, definitely put it on your bucket list.
Yeah.
Go see a play, just have some fun, hit some of the museums. It's fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to. When we get back with Happy Hour Holidaze, we'll continue with Sandy and we'll continue to find out more about probate, real estate, and New York and Arizona, everything. We'll be right back. We're back to Happy Hour Holidaze here with Sandy. So Sandy, how do you safeguard your loved ones from the probate process or in general?
The safeguarding your loved one when it comes to making sure that they're not being taken advantage of, by either, and again, have nothing is wrong with this, but say there's a lot of caretakers that I've heard have fraudulently had a deed signed over, a quitclaim deed.
I would say there's something wrong with that.
No, I'm saying that. No, I meant the caretaker itself. I feel like I can't say something about somebody and
then they'll
get up
upset.
What do you mean? But it happens more often than you would realize, and it's always when the family lives out of state.
Gotcha.
So keep in touch with your loved one. Go down if you're in another state, and if they live in Florida, come down. Interview neighbors, talk to people, find out if there's an attorney, talk to the caretaker, make sure that there's nothing fraudulent going on, and just always keep in touch because that person that you think you can trust may be taking advantage and robbing the person blind, basically, is putting it in a nutshell.
So really for people that have no family or, they're not really close with their families, I mean, what kind of advice can you give to that person? I mean, I don't know if they care where their stuff goes. Maybe, I mean, they want to give it to a friend or something. Yeah. But what would you say for people like that don't really have any family, they're not really close? I mean, what do you do in that situation?
You know what? reach out to them only because, listen, if there's some bad blood going on, put it aside. Like, who cares? Even if there isn't an asset or if there's maybe money in the checking account, why should an individual, a criminal, all right, who's disguised as a caretaker or whatever, a nurse, be allowed to do that just because you don't have a good relationship with them? Like, stop them in their tracks is basically, I'm a big believer in that. Yeah.
And how do you feel technology has changed the process or from when probate started to what it is now? Or has it had any impact?
I think it has had impact. I mean, in a positive way. I'd like to think that.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I feel like technology has changed a lot of industries, but I guess when it comes to pen and paper, it's still the same thing, right? I mean, you still need it. But how about in real estate? How do you feel like technology has changed from when you started investing to now when it comes to that?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because there was
totally
no Zillow
different.
Estimates, right?
There was no Zillow. There was, I was telling, and I know I can make this public information now, but back then, in order to find out a lot of the foreclosures, I knew process servers. So rather than, I was working in the city, so I couldn't take time off to go to the local county clerk's office looking for postings. So they would just, give me their leads and I would pay them.
Gotcha.
So, So that obviously has changed. And when it comes to values, obviously, there's no Zillow or Redfin to tell you what you think you want to hear or want to know. And obviously it's cut out a lot of the middleman, agents and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, it does. And what do you feel after this whole thing with NAR happened with the realtors and all this? Where do you see that representation for, sellers and buyers going? Do you actually think that there's still going to be realtors around, or you think it's just going to be like a Zillow or, a Redfin that's just going to take over the market? I mean, where do you see realtors going now in the future after all this happened? Because, I mean, really, going into the MLS and now not knowing what the commission is, and maybe some sellers being like, well, your commission as a buyer's agent really depends on what my seller's bottom line is, so it's really very vague when it comes to what's going to happen to the real estate agents. Are they still going to be around? I mean, to me, myself, I'm still kind of curious about the whole situation.
I think it's a good way to weed out the bad ones, or the ones that are lazy, or they think that they would have been able to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many stories that I've heard from people, and I've also experienced some advice from a real estate agent and or broker who really doesn't know the business and doesn't know the market, and also will not tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So it weeds them out.
Yeah. And I mean, and also the biggest thing is that a lot of people end up using their friends or family that only done one deal. I mean, what advice can you give? I mean, to people that do that? I mean, it's definitely better to find somebody who's doing it full time than have somebody who has no idea.
I recently went through that because I had flipped a manufactured home in Citrus County, and I knew a broker there and connected really well. Very savvy woman, extremely savvy, from Jersey, just really hip. But what she didn't know and what I didn't realize is that she did not understand the manufactured homes, the mobile homes arena. And she gave me too high of a price. I always thought it was high, and I was like, well, whatever, maybe it'll sell at that. And I ended up firing her and hiring another agent who knew the, the process of it better. Because again, don't forget, this Florida was totally new to me versus Arizona and New York. So, And so, don't go with a friend. Yeah. Don't do them a favor, because it really boils down to its business.
Have you considered maybe just reactivating your license? Is there reciprocity between New York and Florida in terms of real estate?
No, I haven't had my license, and I don't think it is reciprocal. I think it is between Florida and Connecticut. And that's funny because Manuel, for the longest time, wanted me to get my license, and I came that close.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I really don't want to, because I wouldn't have the freedom to do what I'm doing now, being an investor and
Well,
the Florida
I meant
probate.
getting your license just so you can cut out the commission that you would have to pay a realtor who's representing you as a buyer.
You know, I'll be honest with you. I don't mind paying. And I don't mind if it's someone that really does their job, I'm more than happy to give them money. Really, that's the way I look at it. And that way it just takes a lot of nonsense away from me.
Yeah.
So,
If they're
yeah,
adding,
I'm fine.
if they're
I'm
adding the
fine with it.
value to your
Oh,
business,
yeah, go
I mean,
for
why
it.
not?
Did you ever have a flip that was completely something that you should have never bought and it was just a trash house?
I think everybody's had one of those,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
If you,
Oh man, the one that I did in Citrus County, I don't want to say that it was tough because it was a mobile home that I demolished. I bought a used one at Duval County in Arcadia, had it shipped there, had it transported there, then all the permits and everything, and then had it rehabbed and then put it on the market. I think my only regret was that I missed like that 3-month mark because the market started to decrease. So I look at it that if I didn't make the money, I didn't lose it. But still, it would have been nice to make a little bit more. So.
How much did you buy that property for?
It was 35,000, I think.
yeah.
In Citrus County?
Yeah,
No
it
way.
was an acre and a quarter. Had had all the improvements.
And then how much did you buy the used trailer for? Or
20
manufactured home?
It was a double wide. It was 25,000.
25. So then you're all into it for 60. And then you have
but there
to
was
now you
more
have to
too.
rehab
Yeah.
it too.
At a rehab, and I moved an electric pole. I put down sod in the front and the back. Had to upgrade the electric. It was a lot of work.
Was it like $100,000 worth of work?
Oh gosh, it seemed like it was. I don't think it was. It was probably that high. I
Yeah.
don't have the number off the top of my head. I'm sorry. But
And then how much does a property like that can it sell for potentially?
I sold it for 200.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
dog-
So it wasn't
yeah,
bad.
so you made
It
money.
wasn't bad.
that's a creative way to kind of, because
wasn't bad.
all
Yeah.
all these flipper or all the people looking for fixer uppers and stuff, they're texting you, hey, do you have any distressed properties and all this, but nobody ever thinks about doing some manufactured homes because I mean you avoid the impact fees if it already has a septic, a well, so
Just got to move a pole.
pole.
I did have to add another leach field as well because it was a 3-bedroom versus a 2. So there was
Okay.
that. I'm sorry, it was a 4-bedroom. But
Gotcha.
I looked at it because I provided quality to the neighbors because they were sick and tired of the previous owner that
Yeah.
was there and the squatters that were there and all the nonsense that was going on. And sold it to a family from, I think it was Minnesota.
Oh wow.
And
Second
so then
home,
they have,
probably.
they sold their place.
Oh,
So
they
then
did.
they moved to Florida. So, I improved the neighborhood, I improved their lives, and I made money at the same time. And so did my agent. And she was worth every penny.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of great places in Citrus County. I love Lecanto. I used to drive
Yeah.
in Lecanto to photograph homes, and I got to tell you, it's very peaceful because there's nothing around, but there's golf courses around. But not only that, but a lot of the buildings are new. I mean, they have a lot of new construction out there. There's a lot of land that you could buy. Yeah, sure, you probably have to clear and grub it. But I mean, overall, I like Citrus County.
I
really
love
do.
it. It really is.
I want to move to
beautiful.
Dade City is where I want to move to. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, but tornadoes and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
What? Yeah, dude, open fields.
Yeah, I know.
There's tornadoes in open fields, man.
No, you're right. Sandy, after Hurricane Milton, Hurricane Helene, where do you see these, the coastal properties? How do you see the state of real estate in those areas going to? Because I've heard a lot about FEMA, about how much you can improve. You can only improve so much before you have to bring it up to code. A lot of people are trying to see what they want to do with their properties. I mean, we have investors, going after, properties there, maybe,
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I still
Oh, yeah.
think, I still think at this point, a lot of people are heartbroken and they really don't want to sell it for just the land. But at the end of the day, it might get to the point where you might have to just sell it for the land if you're only able to put so much money into it. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about what you're thinking that those coastal houses are the houses in the inland areas going to be more expensive because now everybody's leaving the coast to go more inland? So is that going to drive up prices
I don't
there?
think anybody's ever going to leave the coast.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
Oh,
people
anybody
love
is-
the beach.
I
People
don't know.
love the
yeah,
water.
people love the water. So let's say people in the inland
tell you what's
are
gonna
looking for
happen.
opportunities now on the coast. But everybody that I've talked to on the coast right now says they don't want anything to do with their house. They want to get out.
I'm going to tell you what. Everybody that can afford a multi-million-dollar
I mean, yeah.
mansion,
They're not
on
always,
the coast.
The thing is they're not.
They're going to
always
stay there because they're going to be like, yeah, I could fix up the first floor, no problem.
Yeah.
The ones that can't afford it are the ones that are saying, yeah, no, we can't keep doing this. We got to leave.
No, that's right.
Those are the people that are
yeah, but
so-
here, the perception of people that live on the coast is that they're rich. That's not
And
how it
that's not
is.
true.
That's not how it
true.
is.
That's not how it is.
I know,
they
but
may
that's
have
that's
bought
what
the
people
house in
think.
2009,
Yeah.
you know, or 2012.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of old Florida homes.
Yeah.
So either
Right.
Those are getting wiped out,
Yeah.
demolished, and then rebuilt on top of it.
so I mean, there's
And
two.
that's the way it should be.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's two ways, but that's
Too
also
dangerous.
going to be beneficial.
especially when the house is built in 1970 or,
Yeah, or
1950
50s or
or
something.
1945.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that shit ain't up to code.
No.
You know, it's
No.
actually dangerous for that house to still be there.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So what do you think overall? What's going to happen with that as far as like now with the hurricanes and all this going on with FEMA and all
I think that people are going to be walking away from their homes if they're smart.
Yeah.
Just
So
take-
you mean
take it-
selling them though, not walking,
Well,
Selling
right.
them
like
selling
by
them.
foreclosure, not that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of
Selling
short
them.
sales
Selling
then. There's going to be a lot of short sales then.
I-
For people that
I don't not sure about the coastal homes for short sales. I've done short sales
Yeah, yeah.
too. And I work with a broker who does, do foreclosures and pre-foreclosure,
Yeah.
including Manuel as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I like how you call him Manuel.
Yeah, I never really called him
She,
Manny.
and
Yeah.
she's referencing Manny Mana, which
Yeah.
he's
Manna
been on.
Holmes.
Hey, Manuel.
Yeah.
I'll give you a plug.
Yeah, she's
Love
not.
you.
She's not talking about this Manny.
Yeah.
No, I think that they, listen, if you can afford to stay there and demolish it, or if you want to try to patch it together, which I don't think is a good idea, it really isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's my feeling too. I feel like when it comes to these houses, I know it's better for the county as well if they get, if they tear them down and build a more luxury house. I mean, if it's elevation 12 or whatever it is, because now it's going to be tax assessed at a higher value, which is going to bring in more taxes for the value on that. But
I don't think it's just that though. It's also about the safety.
yeah, I know safety for sure.
Because
but-
in 2004, the building codes changed to where coastal homes, when you build them new,
Yeah.
have to adhere to 180 mile per hour wind gusts,
Yeah.
right? So when you have these single pane windows, and I'm talking specifically in like say Holiday or Hernando Beach, I mean those homes are old, and I mean when Helene came by, the neighborhoods got destroyed, right?
Yeah.
And all the debris there, and then now you got to take everything out. Now you have projectiles flying around. It only makes sense to demolish those homes,
or do you
and
think,
it would improve not only
yeah.
the,
but you have to
the
have the
area,
money to do it.
but
If
it's-
you don't have the money, then
sell
what?
the house. Boom, new construction.
Or do you
they'll
think
it.
people are going to abandon the house?
They'll probably abandon the
Let it
house
go
because they're
foreclosure.
like, okay, well, I don't know about that, but
Why
what I'm
not?
saying is, once it's not only going to impact the coast, it's also going to impact areas
Yeah,
near
flood
those
area. Yeah, flood
neighborhoods.
areas.
So it's not only going to raise the value of those neighborhoods. You go 5 miles in, they're going to be like, oh, you only live 5 miles from Holiday. And imagine if Holiday was literally a holiday. Well, now you're living off of US 19. Maybe your house value also goes up, your property value, because you live right next to it.
Yeah.
I think it's a good
But
thing.
do you think
I do too.
Yeah,
I do.
but do you think values drop there if people are if they're giving away their houses now?
Well,
they
like
can't
what
afford to
like what
rebuild?
she said
Yeah.
earlier. She said the price of the home is predicated on what the public is willing
I
to
understand
pay.
that, but
So if the public is saying, you know what, your house is trash, I'll just pay you for the land, and they're getting no other offers on this dilapidated home, this destroyed home, then yeah, I think the prices would go down.
yeah, so that's going to decrease the value, give people opportunities to find opportunities on the coast again.
Didn't you want to live on the coast?
What? I still do, but I mean, I would definitely.
You still do?
I would still live there. I mean,
so would I.
but with the right house, right?
On stilts.
I mean,
Yeah,
with the
that's it.
old Florida home, it's just not going to work.
It's
especially, and there should never be one. The biggest thing is framed homes in Florida
Oh,
that shouldn't
gosh.
even exist.
It shouldn't.
Number one
I
is
agree 100%.
yeah, because we have one of the best environments for termites. That's number one. And then the second thing is obviously we live in a hurricane prone state.
Yeah.
So I mean, if the bill, and the thing is you go back to, okay, these people have been living here for 30 years. How are you going to tell them, hey, you need to tear down your house and build something concrete block? It's just not going to happen.
Right, it can happen, and it does happen, bro. It happens all the time, in like off of Bayshore, off of West Shore. Even
If people have the money,
bro, if you're living down there, they have the money to. Whoever's purchasing it has the money. They have the money. They're gonna tear it down.
yeah, since the economy is so good.
Well, BlackRock.
Oh yeah, don't get me started.
Oh,
on hedge funds.
do you think the hedge funds are going to step in and just start swiping out
Yes.
everything?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
With
bad
all the
enough.
cloud seeding going on, yeah, who do you think's paying for the cloud seeding? BlackRock is probably
Yeah.
paying for the cloud seeding. They're probably invested in that company, and they're like, "Yo, we're gonna need you to send the hurricane through Tampa real quick. There's prime real estate over there. Oh, it's gonna wipe out and kill a couple people. Oh, okay, yeah, no problem. We'll pay for it. Boom." And then FEMA's like, no.
I mean, is that what
Yeah,
happened?
yeah, I
is,
agree.
is that what happened in Hawaii?
Hawaii.
Remember what Hawaii?
Yeah,
and
Maui?
With Maui.
Maui,
Yeah.
everybody wanted those houses.
Unless you
and
had
they
a
were
blue roof.
and nobody wanted to sell them because they're original owners.
Mhm.
And guess what happened? Something
A magical fire happened.
magical, huge fire happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
really haven't had a fire in Maui in like fucking hundreds of years. All of a sudden, boom, the entire city catches on fire. You know what's crazy?
It is mysterious.
It is.
It is.
Just like
I mean,
this, a mountain town in North Carolina gets completely wiped off the map with flooding. Okay, not during the winter, during the summer from a hurricane. Weird.
would you consider that summer?
I mean, yeah, it's
Not
still
in
summer.
the mountains. It's not summer.
Well, yeah, it's still you can, argue logistics here or semantics. But I'm saying BlackRock is heavily invested in purchasing that same area for the lithium that they're trying to mine from it. And they filed permits to the city to try and purchase the town. Now it's
Oh,
wiped
man.
out. Weird, huh? Weird how that
I did
happened.
hear that.
Too many
I forgot.
coincidences.
Way too many. You know what? When
Yeah.
you get too many coincidences, all of a sudden it's no longer conspiracy.
Right.
Well, the reason that they call it conspiracy is because they want you to think you're crazy. That's why they
Yes.
go, "Oh, you're a conspiracist." It's like, no, we know the truth. You're calling it that because you don't want the public to know what the truth is.
It's kind of like the media saying, "Oh, he's a threat to democracy. He's a threat to democracy," and then they try to kill him.
I'm going to tell
3
you a quick
times.
story. It's off
Topic,
topic.
Yeah, go for it.
It was in the city, September 11th, right? It was in Midtown. And myself and a group of coworkers jumped in a
Are you talking
coworker's
about
car.
the
The
September?
September 11th.
Oh
yeah.
wow, 2001.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I was in Midtown. I wasn't downtown, but you could still see it. And
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
it was mayhem because everybody was trying to get off the island. We were all in the car. The only radio station that was available was some AM station because the World Trade Center had a lot of cell towers. That's another thing too. Cell phones were hardly working. The only one that was working was Nextel because that was like a walkie-talkie. Heard on the news that it was either whichever airline that was, either American or United, the flight that crashed
The
in
first one.
Pennsylvania,
Oh yeah.
On the
yeah.
ground?
in the field. Yeah.
that there were two fighter jets that shot the airplane down. Okay. That was it. That was the news that came on, and it was continuously going. So we were all in the car, you hear it and then you talk to other people about it. The next day, or maybe later on that day, I'm not sure. They said that they didn't talk about, the media didn't talk about fighter pilots. They said that some of the
Passengers. Yeah, that's
had
what I was going to say.
overtook, and then the plane crashed. Now, how did it go from eyewitnesses seeing two fighter jets, blowing up a plane?
Holy shit! I'd
It was
never heard this.
I know. A lot of people haven't. It was our planes because there was a command center upstate New York. It's near the Canadian border. And soon as the whichever tower, I don't remember, was hit.
Tower 2, I think.
I'm not sure if it was the north or south, but
Oh.
they got in their fighter jets and they flew down, and they obviously could see the other planes that were being hijacked.
So why didn't they shoot those down?
Well, that plane, the one in Pennsylvania, was going to the White House.
So that's why they shut that down.
Yeah. So, yes, there are people think that we are conspiracy theorists when we talk about that. I mean, here I am, and I heard it with my own ears, and there was other people in the car, and then you would talk to whether, did you hear that story? Did you hear the news? Did you hear it? And then all of a sudden it just was flipped.
And you know what? Just also on 9/11, the towers falling in the pancake fashion that they did.
Just coming
floor
down.
on top of floor on top of floor.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of what would be similar to demolitions of other buildings where you just see these jets of explosions shooting out the sides of the building. I don't think that those two airplanes knocked those towers down. I want to say they were absolutely demolished in order to go to Iraq and seize in Afghanistan and seize their natural resources, in my opinion. I mean, the Bushes love oil. We know that from Daddy Bush, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it was an inside job. I think if the CIA or the FBI want to do whatever they want to do, they can cover it up really quick just by calling up a couple of news media stations and saying this is what the official report is.
Oh, they own
they will openly just say whatever that report says.
Oh, right. They own the Washington Post.
And then the
New York
mass
Times,
sheeple will ingest that information as fact.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Because we all trust the government, right?
No, but you just can't get your news from mainstream media anymore. They've lost all accountability as far as what they're telling you. It's just, you know, at least I know in this generation too. Like I don't look at the mainstream media for nothing.
Fuck no.
You know?
Oh yeah, no. Neither do I. I don't even watch TV. I stream. You know,
even you know, sometimes with these hurricanes, the way they put so much fear in so many people. I mean, you never know. Like, is this to
it's
make
going to be
sales?
a level
you know,
of destruction unimaginable in the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, Helene was worse than Milton.
Yeah, from the storm surge.
Yeah. It caused more destruction than Milton did. Milton knocked down lines, I mean, and flooded a couple areas. That's it. Helene, which didn't even hit Tampa, it just skirted right by, ruined the entire coast.
Yeah. No, without a doubt.
4 minutes, Manny.
So, Sandy, what we do at the end of the segment or at the end of the show, we just like for you to kind of tell the audience anything, you know, informational or educational that you want to leave them with, little bits of like knowledge. What do you want to tell the audience either about probate, real estate, or anything in general?
Real estate, if you're looking to sell your home, connect with an agent who is going to tell you the truth. If you don't want to hear the truth, then just let the house sit for a year. I keep lowering the price and look like a fool amongst everyone else. And find yourself a good agent and interview several of them as well. If you have any questions, you can always contact me. As far as probate, oh gosh, please, I can't say it enough. Please, please, please be in touch with your loved one. Find out what the process is. Interview a couple of attorneys. If you don't feel comfortable, reach out to me because I have done a lot of vetting. If you need a contractor, if there's an asset and you need a contractor or some kind of work done, I can connect you with the right people as well. Again, I do not charge.
How can they reach out to you?
Through my website, which is floridaprobatecare.com, or my other website, which is sandybuyshouses.com.
Perfect. Well, Sandy, we really appreciate your time. And
before we go, I wanted to I'm plugging this hard. Go download my book or get the audiobook, The Galaxian Rift. It's a sci-fi epic space opera odyssey. All right.
Oh, it sounds cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm going to tell you, there's going to be a time where that shit is on the big screen. And you heard it right here first.
It still needs to be approved by Kindle.
No. It's in publishing right now. It just got approved.
Cool.
It got approved right now?
Yeah. But, I mean, they're not going to see this until later. So I'm saying it's available.
I think it got flagged.
Cool.
It did not get flagged. And the audiobook will be up as well. By the time you guys see this podcast, the audiobook will be up too. And it's got character voices, everything, narrators. All the characters have different voices. Narrator's got a different voice. So you're like watching it, but really you're deaf and watching, or not deaf, blind and watching it. If you're a blind person watching a movie, that's exactly what it would be like.
He knows how to change his voices to 50 different characters.
Awesome.
111.
111 different characters.
You're real Mel Blanc. Mel Blanc, was that his name back in the Looney Tunes?
Yeah, the
he did all
Looney
those-
Tunes. Really? He did them all?
I didn't know that.
He did. Yeah, he did the majority of them.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I love
it's-
the old cartoons.
I
They're
guess
so
it's
much
like
fun.
Family Guy too. Family Guy too.
Yeah, Seth MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane. I know. I used to love that too. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in to Happy Hour Holidays. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on social media: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Keep watching us. We were voted, on Best of the Bay. We're gonna win it next year, so hopefully next year is a bigger turnout. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Go out there and make something happen, and don't sleep on your couch and do nothing. All right.
And welcome
Thank
back,
you.
Manny.
And thanks,
you.
Sandy, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, peace.